Now we'll move on to our next topic. Free foreclosure prevention workshops. The Houston Foreclosure Prevention Task Force hosts free homeownership preservation workshops for those having trouble paying their mortgage. Find out how a few hours of education may save you thousands of dollars and even maybe your home.
The services, what their role is, they have to look at your income.
With thousands of Houstonians facing foreclosure each month, the Houston Area Foreclosure Prevention Task Force members offer free weekly and monthly foreclosure prevention workshops that have lots to offer.
I think first thing we try to promote when we do these workshops is it's a neutral environment. We're not here to threaten, we're not here to seize and to take money. We want to make it where customers can feel comfortable coming to these events, that help is available. It's a free environment.
We're mainly here to deliver information. Once you come in, we'll do a brief overview of what to expect in terms of what programs are out there.
You will meet with lenders, those institutions or individuals who loan a borrower money, servicers, those who collect money on behalf of the lender, and housing counselors who will help attendees navigate the process as their trusted advisors. Those who come here get...
They can expect to sit down with somebody who can present some of the options to them.
All housing counselors here are approved by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, also known as HUD, and provide free services.
So the counseling agencies are here for two purposes. One is for those situations where the customer's mortgage lender is not here, then they can feel free to work with the counseling agencies, and then the counseling agencies will be their representative in working with the lender eventually. But secondly, as a lender, we might come across a situation where the homeowner needs counseling in terms of help with their budgeting. Then we refer them back to the counseling agencies as well to help them with their budgeting and adjusting their lifestyle.
Besides housing counselors, there will be mortgage company counselors.
These are counselors, specially trained advisors from the mortgage companies, and the persons that they send are specially trained representatives that can understand what the customer's hardship is, get documentation from those customers, and then submit them to their various loss mitigation departments for underwriting and review, and hopefully working out a modification that's sustainable long-term.
If you plan on attending the workshop, you will need to bring the following: copies of your paycheck stubs, a budget, what caused your delinquency, a letter explaining what happened, and a reminder, no money is needed. Services are free.
Buenos días. ¿Cuánta gente tengo aquí que no entiende inglés? ¿Me pueden levantar la mano, por favor?
Some seminars are also offered in Spanish and other languages. The goal is to make it as easy as possible to help homeowners in need. This family was appreciative of the help they received.
All our questions were answered, and I see that we have hope now. Things like when we bought the house, they didn't explain to us, and they didn't read through it, and so we got that help, and we now know why things are happening to us right now.
I would thank those people that are doing these programs to help us.
So in short, anyone that thinks they have an existing problem or may have a problem with their mortgage payments, they need to come to a workshop such as this.
Remember, we want to hear from you. We're taking live phone calls. The number is 1-866-583-8814. Now, we have we heard a little bit in the story about what are things people need to bring, but let's go over that in detail. Can you tell me what that is?
All right, some of the things on your document checklist should be: bring your most recent income tax return, number one. Number two, your recent pay stubs or any documentation of any employment that you may have, any income. 3, your monthly mortgage statement. So important. It tells us as the counselors so much information to actually start your file. Along with that mortgage statement, though, also is bring your closing packet. In your closing packet, it has your note, your deed of trust, your HUD-1 settlement statement. These are things that we as counselors need to see to help you get down to the bottom of what kind of structure you have. Number 4, any second mortgage or home equity line of credit documentation. Again, the extra mortgages. You mentioned the PMI insurance or the private mortgage insurance. If you don't have that, you probably had an 80-20 loan, which meant you have 2 loans. Bring both packets. Any correspondence from the mortgage company or its attorney. So important. Even if it hasn't been opened, bring it to your counselor. Any documentation from the courts or the local sheriff, of course, that legal documents. A lot of times we don't want to open those, but please bring those with you. Your account balances and minimum monthly payments for your credit cards. Many ask us, why do you want to know this? Well, we're also going to be pulling credit reports, and we want to verify that the information that your lender's seeing on the workout is truly what you are doing. Number 8, the account balance, any payments for any other debts. 9, your most recent bills and statements for your expenses. Number 10, last 2 months of all bank statements, and those are every page, not just the front sheet, but if it says 1 of 5, bring all 5 times 2 months. And then your hardship letter, which is a letter describing any circumstances that have caused your income to change. The hardship letter, also the counselor will help you draft, fine-tune it a little bit, but that hardship letter must come from your own lips, from your own heart, and your lender knows that.
And we know that it's a long list, so they can find that on our website if they're interested. I want to ask you, Gabriela, there are people. We've seen this a lot, especially in neighborhoods that are suffering from a lot of mortgage and foreclosures. Signs, companies that actually charge for free services that you provide for free as a HUD counselor. And they say, we're better because we charge. Those people over there, those nonprofits, they don't know what they're doing. They don't charge. How do you respond to that?
Well, the services are free. And yes, that's something that how they market. They're going to stack your file on the very bottom of 100 files. That is not true. We do prioritize depending on how late the clients are. We're open to anyone. And again, if you're struggling to make your mortgage, why are you going to go and pay? Don't do that. We're here and we service everyone for free.
Mm-hmm. Can I add to that also?
Please.
I would love to go head-to-head with profits. Well, the reason being is because we're knowledgeable.
Right, you are.
We're credible. We talk with each other. We go to various training. But more important than that is that with nonprofits, we have support services. We have programs that help with maybe rescue funds to help them assist with their mortgage payments. We have food. We have employment opportunities, placements. So we have support services. If you're not a nonprofit, chances are the for-profit's going to refer them to us for services anyway. So you might as well start off with us from the beginning.
Yeah. Oh, well, I just love that question. And do I need a lawyer to go through the foreclosure process?
My first step would actually be to contact the counselor first. If you call a lawyer, first of all, you may be doing the TV guide or the yellow pages, and it oftentimes forces parties to entrench. Then you're getting nowhere. Then it's like, okay, and the law's on their side. The timeline's going to move forward. Call a counselor. Use the resources we mentioned earlier. The Texas Complaint Center, HBA has a number of programs set up, and it's all on 211. Don't be afraid to use those, but don't pull out the lawyer card yet. But if it helps, the counselor will be able to get you.
I love those counselors. Now we have a question from the audience. What is your question?
Hi. My name is Jenny Goldman. I'm the State Director for Texas Acorn. And under the Obama plan, the lenders and servicers participating in the plan are supposed to put a halt on the foreclosure while they're checking someone's eligibility if they are eligible to participate in a loan modification program. What we're finding is that's not the case, that the foreclosures, since this program started, we're still finding ourselves every first Tuesday of the month hustling to stop a foreclosure sale, What do you all have ideas as a community what we can do to help get lenders and servicers in compliance and stopping the foreclosures and giving people more time to get their loan modifications worked out?
Ms. Goldman, great question. Who wants to take that on?
Well, we have numbers set for each lender, especially for counselors. So if you see that a file is not progressing as it should be progressing, you can always escalate the issue to see what's going on and to get the file going, most of all.
Anybody else want to add to that?
As advocates for our clients, as she brought out, all our agencies should rally around together and find out, because it clearly says in the workout that they're supposed to stop that process until it's gone all the way through, and foreclosure shouldn't be going on until they either accept, if they deny it. So when we find things like that, we should call each other, find out what's going on, identify what companies are doing this, and then let someone else know that we're here, that we're going to protect those people because that's what we're here for.
That's what you're here to do. And we have a question from Hazel. Hazel, what is your question?
My question is, we fell behind in our house in our mortgage, and we went with a company called Fidelity Mutual Home Savers, and we had to pay them $3,000. So I'm asking, my question is, should we have paid them this $3,000?
Very good question, Hazel. Well, anybody wants to take that?
I would have said no.
Said no, she didn't have to pay. This is an example of one of these companies. They're not doing something illegal, but it's not necessary to pay, correct?
Correct. And my answer would be no. We've assisted many families that have gone through these private agencies, for-profit agencies, and they paid thousands of dollars. And just out of curiosity, when I called the lender, I asked them, has this company sent any documents in to reach out an agreement or a modification or some type of workout? And the answer is no, never. They haven't sent anything.
And that's something, if the company hasn't done anything for their $3,000, that's when you can contact the Houston Bar Association, the Attorney General's office, our local branch here in Houston, and file a complaint. Now, will that get your $3,000 back? Maybe not, but maybe,
maybe
again,
yes.
maybe
so
yes.
You should at least try.
Just try.
The important thing is we're doing the show to avoid these kinds of scams.
Call
it's not.
And contact the Bar Association. Even contact Better Business Bureau. At least get their name registered with a complaint that somebody maybe down the road may not have seen this program, but they always call the Better Business Bureau to find out what's going on with these people. At least if there's a complaint out there, they would at least have some kind of red flag.
The sad part is that it is legal. What they're doing is legal.
Well,
it is not ethical.
It's deceptive. It could be a violation of DTPA,
the Deceptive Trade Practices Act.
And there's a variety of Consumer Protection Acts. But the problem is if these entities are like, they're gone. I mean, they're just poof. You try to sue them, and there's nothing left. There's nothing there. They're gone to the next jurisdiction. They're in Arizona. They're in California, wherever.
And aren't these companies advertising in these neighborhoods where people are in dire straits? I mean, they seem to. I saw a lot of
signs up. Thank goodness for the City of Houston sign ordinance, because as soon as they put them up, they come right back down. But yeah, again, they market. And I'm not saying that this particular firm is the firm that is not doing correct, but there are a lot of firms out there, are a lot of shingles that have been put up for these types of assistance plans. And again, if you haven't, what we're hoping tonight is that people understand they can pick up the phone, they can call their lender, their servicer themselves, talk to them, open the line of communication, and follow up through the HUD-approved housing counseling agencies for free.
Yeah, and I'd be real leery, going to the internet. I was doing some research for some of these things, and you're right, the websites they have are unbelievable. I mean, they have the Eagle.
They look really official.
And I really started looking, okay, if it doesn't end in .gov, I didn't even go to it. I mean, it was like I became real leery of anything that didn't say .gov and HUD, and if it wasn't from the HUD page and linked to it, then I was like, it's probably some false information or misinformation.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, to recognize if the website is a government website and not on one of these companies, and make it look like their government websites.
They had one that was called HUD. It was HUD.org or HUD.com.
I think it's HUD.com, which is not correct.
And it was like, it looked official, and I started, that doesn't sound right,
Again, if you want to go to our website, then you'll find out which are the right websites to go to. We have an audience member with a question. What is your name and what's your question?
I'm Julia Mickham, and I am the broker for Touchstone Fine Properties. I have a real estate office in Southwest Houston, and I usually come to these problems after the effect. A lot of people who I've helped move and get them out of a bad situation, and I'm wondering how retroactive can they be about filing against people who've taken advantage of them in, say, the past 2 or 3 years?
Very good point. Thank you for that question. Do you all know the answer to that? The lawyer.
It would be a tort claim, so you need to move fast.
You need to move fast.
It'd be
so there's a
2-year statute of limitations on any kind of tort claim.
2 years.
So you need to move fast. But it's a pretty recent phenomenon, so most of them would be pretty safe. 2 years ago was 2007. Things were still not as bad, at least in Texas, as they are now. But don't sit around. Don't be embarrassed, because there's a lot of people out there in your same situation.
At least ask about it, right?
Exactly. Call the legal clinics. Don't make afraid to make a phone call.
Now, what do you do if you're right now, as we speak, paying someone for help? What do you do?
Read your contract. Read your contract. Read what you signed.
And not only that, Patty, call your lender. See what that entity has done for you. Have they submitted any documents on your behalf? Have they contacted your lender yet?
Right. Now, let's say I'm someone who already lost my home to foreclosure. Is there anything out there for me that could help me in the future? Let's say I'm going into bankruptcy, things are tough. What kind of services are out there for people who already lost their homes to foreclosure? Anything?
Well, many of us have education classes to start over, just to get back to basics, to find out you need to start over, so why not start over with a fresh financial education series? Again, the housing counseling agencies offer these for free. Join, look on 211, call 211, or look on your website for links. I'm sorry that we keep referring everybody to the website, but that's an excellent source of information.
Would you say most people that are having problems with foreclosure have money management problems?
It turns into money management problems no matter what led you there. From your lack of payment of the mortgage, it leads to the credit report, reporting to the credit bureau. Then you have, when you're late on your mortgage through universal default, your credit card companies then raise your interest rates to the default rates, and it snowballs. So it's if they weren't in a personal financial management mess to begin with, they may be in one now, but the good news is you can get out of it. You didn't get in that mess in one day. You're not going to get out of it in one day. Time's on your side if you just work forward. Okay. And that's probably not the answer a lot of people want to hear.
Right, but a lot of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. I think the statistic is 40%. So we're not ready, generally, as Americans, to deal with these things.
Let me say this. Sometimes, a dignified exit from your home is the best solution for the whole family and for you. And, if you're in a home that you cannot afford because of whether you could afford it when you purchased it and you can't afford it now, or whatever the reason was, sometimes starting over is the best thing. And that's another thing where we can help you communicate with your lender, your servicer, for a dignified exit so that you can start over and start fresh.
Now, and this leads to another question, is the next generation. Obviously, this is historical. This mortgage crisis in America is historical. It's causing tremendous economic problems. Is it a time to start teaching our children money management? And do you offer anything like that as housing counselors? Or are you aware of programs for kids so they can avoid these problems?
There are a number of programs that starts off in elementary school for money management and savings. And I think it all permeates from the fact that from babes we learn. And here's the deal. A child comes home and say, Mom, I learned how to save this money today. And if the parent's not doing it, then the child gets on them and say, Mom, why don't you save this money? Or, Mom, I don't need to have those Jordans this time. Let me have some other things. And it runs with the family all the way through. Because even when it starts from the little one, then when the parents are involved, then the child understands why they don't have different things and how to save and move on from there. It's an adjustment. It's a change of life.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now we have Alice on the phone. Alice, what is your question?
My question is that, well, actually, it's a situation. Mm-hmm. I'm terrified of my mortgage company. I work for NASA, and I have a tumor in my spine, and I'm going through the disability retirement process, and I was told that it would take approximately 1 year for my paperwork to get approved. And my paperwork has been sent to the Department of the Interior and to the Office of Personnel Management. My fear is that at some point I will have literally no income because I won't have any sick leave. And the thing is that my mortgage is through Wells Fargo. And the thing is that this has happened to me before. Usually my payment is due on the 1st, and then you have a 16-day grace period. But the thing is that previously, it was October the 4th, and Wells Fargo was already calling me to work, telling me that I needed to provide proof that I was living in the home. They wanted me to fax copies of my utilities to them, and I'm really just terrified that I'm going to be maybe without income, or maybe I'm not behind in my mortgage.
Alice, let's see if we can help you a bit. Would anybody like to tell? We've got a minute.
I'm thinking that if they're calling her with those questions, those are questions that lead towards a modification workout.
Okay.
So they need to verify she's in the home and that she's actually there. So that might be not a negative call. That might be a positive call that they're reaching out to try to assist her. Again, if she could contact one of the housing counseling agencies here locally, and let us, talk with her. I think that would maybe make you feel a little better. Not that it guarantees the answers that we all want to possibly hear, but it's a step. Communication.
But it sounds like she's in terrible hardship,
yes.
So she would be a good candidate for that. Do you get cases like this a lot?
We do.
I mean, it happens a lot.
It happens. She's not alone.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you all for joining us tonight. And, of course, people can keep calling a half hour after the show, and we'd like to thank you all. The program will be rebroadcast on Sunday, August 9th at 4 p.m. and will be available on our website tomorrow. And once again, if you need help, you can call 1-866-583-8814 for another half hour. Housing counselors are standing by to answer your questions. You'll also find useful resources and information on our website. That's for a long time, HoustonPBS.org/mortgage. The easy-to-navigate site contains all the information presented on air, including the phone numbers for help. The United Way's 211 number connects callers directly to the United Way's trained staff who are on duty 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to provide you assistance. We'd like to thank all the members of the Houston Foreclosure Prevention Task Force for their assistance on this project. I'm Patricia Gras. From all of us here at Houston PBS, good night.